Okay, happy new year. It's 2025. How did that happen? Where did the whole of last year go? I don't know. I'm at the studio. It's still 2024 for me when I'm making this, and I'm just doing some last bits before I go and have a bit of a party tonight and have a couple of days off and then start back up again. And I just thought I'd share a few of my thoughts about last year, some of the things that I've seen in the music industry, some of the things that I've experienced and that people that I've talked to have experienced, and then just share some of my personal thoughts and opinions about where I think the music industry is heading in 2025 and what I think the music industry needs to do or where I think it needs to head as well. So hopefully that's of interest. Again, this is just purely my personal experience and my personal opinion. So I'd love your feedback and I'd love to get your thoughts on it as well, especially from musicians in other places and maybe doing other things than I'm doing. As a mastering engineer, I work with quite a high turnover. So I work with quite a lot of clients. I work with people all over the world. But I guess I work with people who are fairly interested in records because I cut records here and interested in analog stuff and mastering and all that kind of stuff. So there might be huge parts of the industry that I'm kind of missing out on as well. So anyway, I'll stop rambling. I'll try and keep this fairly brief and to the point. And let's get started with the first point that I want to talk about. So the first point that I want to talk about is fairness, compensation, and ethics in the music industry. In 2024, we've seen further backlash against Spotify and especially the Spotify CEO, Daniel Ek, for a couple of reasons. Firstly, the payments have got worse for independent artists, and now for artists that earn under $1,000, they just don't get anything at all because it costs Spotify to process the payments or something like that. That's what he said. So on average, people are getting paid about $0.003 to $0.005 per stream, which is very low. And it's not enough for most artists to make a living from, to just even help or support part of their career. It's not enough. So there's been further, there's sort of an ongoing backlash, resistance, I might say, to Spotify. And it's been made worse by the CEO's investment in military AI defense companies. He invested, I think, $100 million in Helsing earlier this year. And, most creatives, artists, musicians don't want to be associated with that. And they don't want their money or their art or their time, energy associated with someone who would do that, someone who's kind of taking money that they've made from art and music and investing it in military applications and companies. So what can we do about it? Who knows? There's other platforms that pay a lot more, Apple and Tidal, although there still might be problems with those. There might be stuff I'm not aware of as well, but they pay about 30 times more, I think, per stream. So that's one option. And it's a tough one. Streaming is quite well embedded into our kind of daily lives, into our culture now. People expect music on the go. They expect to be able to listen to stuff on their phone, in the car, and in the kitchen, wherever they want, fairly easily and quickly and cheaply. So it's tough, and it's only getting tougher, really, for artists. And the smaller and the more independent you are, the tougher it gets. So migrating to another platform and putting your music on, say Bandcamp, Tidal, Apple, and lots of other streaming services is one way to combat that. And another way is to really concentrate on building a small but loyal community of fans that will buy your t-shirts, records, tapes, CDs, gig tickets, posters, whatever you have, your merch, basically, physical things. That's the only way artists are making money at the minute. And from my personal experience, it's getting a lot more popular for independent artists to get small runs of physical merch and sell them out, do limited edition stuff, bespoke stuff, fun things, one-off things. And I cut records here, and artists have been having some amazing success with getting 10 records and making each one unique, hand signing them, making custom artwork, doing custom audio, and all that kind of thing. And they sell out so quick, and it really engages fan bases. And this is one way I can just see it working. I think this is the way the industry is going. From my experience, artists selling small amounts of merch to a small community, and making money that way, because you could sell one record and make say 10 quid profit on a single record. God, how many streams is that? I can't do the maths this quickly, but that's a lot. And if you start thinking in those terms and thinking in terms of a fan base, you might be familiar with the 1,000 true fans concept that basically outlines that if you're any kind of creative, that if you have 1,000 true fans who are really, really keen on what you do and loyal and come to gigs and buy you albums and buy t-shirts, then that can actually sustain your career. If you had 1,000 people spending 30 to 50 quid a year, then that's 30 to 50 grand a year in income, and that might not all be profit, but that's, you can live off that, and getting 1,000 fans is doable. That's really doable. How many millions of streams is that? Who knows? I'm not going to do the maths, but yeah, that's my thoughts. I'm not going to waffle on too long on that, but in terms of streaming and how artists can kind of combat that and get back some of their financial security, I've definitely seen artists have really great success with limited edition, small runs of merch to their loyal fan bases. So the second point that I'd like to talk about is gender imbalance in the music industry. And this is something that's really important, and I've had some really amazing experience with this past year. You probably already know that the music industry is heavily skewed towards male musicians, engineers, studio owners, etc. And it's very hard to get into, especially for female, non-male, gender minority people who want to be in the industry, can feel very excluded. And as studio owners, as engineers, as musicians, it's everyone's responsibility to try and redress that imbalance. This year, I've had an amazing experience teaming up with the Yorkshire Sound Women Network here in Leeds and up north, and I've actually started 2 traineeships here at the studio, one of which is finished now, and I've had a trainee in for about 3 months, and they've been coming in for 2 days a week. It's fully paid. It's not, no one's working for free, and they've been coming in, learning about mastering, learning about record cutting, learning about the industry, the business, getting clients, communicating, and all the stuff that kind of I've learned over the past 25 years in the music industry. And I have another traineeship starting in a few days, next week, in fact, which will go on till March, and then we're going to have another meeting and maybe come up with some more ways in which I can help here at my studio and bring in more people to help learn about mastering and record cutting and get some hands-on experience, which will then help them go out and get jobs and get work in the industry. So I know this is a tough one. How do you help? How do you become an ally? How do you help redress that imbalance? There's lots of different ways, and it kind of depends on your own role in the industry, whether you're a musician or you're an engineer or a studio owner. But you will find with a quick Google, with a quick web search, you will find organisations near you that are trying to help this. And I'm pretty sure there'll be someone you can reach out to that's in your local county, town, city, community that will be able to help you and offer some advice as to how you can help directly and make an impact. And if you want any details, I'm happy to share the contacts that I'm aware of and the organisations that I know of. So just send me a message, leave a comment, send me a DM, or get in touch through my website. I'm always happy to help people where I can and help put people together, put people in touch with each other and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not sure if the entire industry is going to make a massive shift in 2025, but for me personally and people I know in my community, there's definitely lots more advocacy going on. Organisations are getting funding, and people that I know and myself are making a direct impact. It might be small, but we're all doing what we can to help redress this imbalance in the industry. And I think I'm quite hopeful, and I think, we're going to keep seeing that change. It's going to be slow, but the more people get behind it, the quicker it'll go. And the more people talk about it as well, the more attention it gets, and these things can kind of snowball a bit. And hopefully we'll, make a good, decent change in those kind of statistics. So the third and final thing I want to talk about, and I kind of already covered it in the Spotify thing, is physical medium and the growth of short-run vinyl. Now, you might be aware, if you've watched any of my stuff already, that I cut records here at the studio. I've got some incredibly rare cutting lathes, and I produce short-run, limited edition, hand-cut vinyl records. And these have been so popular this year, and artists are really starting to get the idea behind short-run, limited edition, bespoke, really special physical products. Now, I always suggest to people that getting a small amount of something and making it really special is way better than getting just a big, huge load of records, say, and then having them sat in boxes in your hallway for the next 2 years. Some artists that I've worked with have just been having amazing success with this, doing runs of 10 records, 20 at a time, making them special, doing a bespoke colour for each different one, or tagging some bespoke audio onto each record. So make 10 records, it might have the same song on, but they'll put a little voice note on each one that's different. So each single record is actually unique. There's no other one the exact same on the planet. And so this is, not only is this just really cool, the fans are getting something really special, your audience is getting something really personal. And what that does is really engage an audience. It doesn't matter the size of your audience, it might be fairly small, but if you've got people that know you're putting out a really bespoke, limited edition vinyl record, then people pay attention because they want one. And if there's only 10 or 20 and a few people miss out, that's actually a good thing, because then the next time you come to release something, it means those people really pay attention and people act quickly, and they don't want to miss out on that super special thing that you're going to release. And so it kind of encourages a community, and it encourages awareness and attentiveness around your music and around your releases and around these really special things. Now, I make records here, so I'm kind of talking about it in that kind of sense, but this could be anything. This could be t-shirts or CDs or cassettes or, you know, custom handwritten lyrics or anything. But physical limited edition products is the way artists are going to make some real money moving forward in 2025 and beyond. You know, I think the gap between the mega huge artists and the rest of the industry is only getting wider, and you know, independent artists are not making enough money from streaming, so physical merch is the way to go. Even touring is getting expensive, you know. So I know lots of bands who rely on their t-shirt sales or record sales whilst they're on tour to actually make sure they don't lose money going on tour. So yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts. This is from experience this year. I've had so many people get in touch about records, and I've cut a lot of records this year, and I can just see this only getting more popular and only getting more profitable for independent artists. And like I was saying earlier with the 1,000 true fans kind of concept, you know, if you can sell a record and a gig ticket or a record and a t-shirt a year to one person, times that by 1,000, you know, you can make a living and you can do well. So yeah, and then the more special, the more unique, the more handmade, they don't even have to be handmade, but the more bespoke you can make these things, the more people want them, the more people appreciate them, and the more your fans will feel connected to you, because it is something quite personal if you've got one of 10 things that exist in the world. So there you go. Yeah, I'll stop there, because I could go on and on and on about this subject for forever. And I talk a lot to my mastering and record cutting clients about stuff. We've got some very cool ideas coming this year, including lots of coloured vinyl, liquid filled vinyl, bespoke audio, and all that kind of very cool stuff. So keep an eye on all the socials and this channel and all that kind of stuff. And if you ever want to talk about any of this stuff for you and your music, you can get in touch with me anytime. So there we go. That's some of my rambling thoughts on the music industry from 2024 going into 2025 and beyond. I'd love to hear what you think, as always. Let's have some discussion down in the comments. Yeah, you might disagree. That's totally cool. And you might have some different perspectives, which I'd love to hear about. And as always, there's lots planned for this year. Loads of mastering stuff, loads of stuff about record cutting coming up. So keep an eye on the channel, subscribe and like and all that stuff if you would. It really helps out. I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I don't have a course to sell. I'm just doing this because I like talking about the music industry, mastering and record cutting. And I just really like trying to help people share the stuff that I know. Because when I was growing up and I was getting into all this stuff, there was not all this information available on YouTube, and it was hard work, you know, learning all this stuff 25 odd years ago. So there we go. That's my ramble over. I hope you're all well. I hope you've had great Christmases. I hope you have an amazing start to the new year. I hope this year is great for everyone. You can get in touch with me anytime. I hope you're all well, and I'll see you next time.